Hey beauties, I'm Allie and the sun is just rising here in beautiful Playa del Carmen. I'll be sharing a short yin practice with you to help with lower back pain. So if you have a yoga block or a cushion nearby, grab that for the practice and I'll meet you laying down on your back with your knees bent and your feet on the mat. So as you get settled onto your back, I just want to remind you to make sure that you're not feeling any pain in any of these poses. So you're welcome to modify or skip a pose if it doesn't feel good for you. Just remember that we want to stretch and compress the tissues, but we don't want to create any pain. So as you're laying on your back, this is a nice pose with the knees bent, feet on the mat, to help support your lower back. You could even bring your knees together and your feet a little wider. So just landing here for a few deep breaths. As we get here, maybe placing your hands on your belly or one on your belly and one on your heart. Take a deep breath in. Open your mouth, let it go. Again, big inhale, fill up your lungs. Release it out, just soften here. Last one, deep breath in. Big exhale, let it go. We're going to move into a pose called banana asana. So you're coming into a banana shape. You can start by bringing your feet, extending your legs out. Bring your feet to the bottom right corner of your mat. You'll shift your hips over to the left side, and then your arms go up to the top right. So you're really bringing yourself into the shape of a banana or even a moon shape. And we want to keep the whole back of the body grounded onto your mat. So it's not a twist, we're not lifting one side of the body. Really pin down the back of the hips, the back of the shoulders. Feel the heaviness in your heels. And if you're tighter in the upper body, you can always bend your elbows as much as you need to. You don't have to grasp hands. But if the hands do meet, maybe you grasp one in the other. And we're really starting to open up the side of the body, the intercostal muscles, the obliques in the left side. So if you don't feel much there, what you could do also is cross your left ankle over your right. And now we just get to hang out here and breathe. A yin practice is more of a surrender. So we're not trying to force anything. We're not trying to change anything, but just settling in with what shows up here. And a lot of times you'll find that yin poses are held for at least 3 to 5 minutes, but this is more of an express class because I know you're busy, so the holds won't be as long. But you're always welcome to take this class and turn it into a 60-minute class or even a 90-minute class just by holding each pose a few extra minutes. We'll stay here for about 5 more rounds of breath. And slowly, gently releasing your body, uncross your hands and ankles. Bring it back to a shavasana. Shift your hips to center. Let's take this moment just to rebound and feel the shift this far. So feet at each edge of your mat. Let the back of the hands be heavy. Just for a few breaths, observe. And we'll switch it over to the other side now. Feet to the bottom left. Hips shift over to the right. Bring your hands up to the top left. Come into that banana shape. Settle into it however it works for you on this side. Remember, this practice is not a one-size-fits-all practice, so it doesn't have to look like the way I'm doing it. But you want to ideally find some kind of stretch into the right side of the body as you settle in here. Same option if you'd like a little bit more, clasp one hand in the other, or cross your right ankle over your left. Notice if the right side is lifting up away from your mat, try to ground it down. Find that anchoring in the back body to support you with this side stretch as we create a little more space for the spine in the next few poses. And if you find your mind wandering or that you're getting easily distracted from any noises or happenings around you, it's a great reminder just to focus on your breath and be easy on yourself with whatever shows up. We're never searching for perfection in these practices, but we are accepting that there's no such thing. And just showing up to take this time for yourself is really so beneficial on its own. You might even notice over a bit of time here that your lungs start to expand with each inhale. You're able to bring a little more air in as it travels down through the chest, ribs, and into the low belly. And then on the exhale, you have that little bit more depth to release what's not serving you here. A few more breaths. And even slower than the first side, let's bring it right back to center, into Shavasana for a moment. Settle in. Notice the shift, feel the shift. And if nothing shows up, that's okay too, just a few deep breaths. You bring the soles of the feet back onto the mat now, knees bent. We'll move into figure 4 pose, or thread the needle. So you can lift your right leg up to the sky and then cross the ankle over your left thigh. This could definitely be enough for you if you're starting to feel a stretch in the outer right hip. Otherwise, another option is gently pressing your fingertips into your right inner thigh. Or you can interlace behind the left leg, trying not to round too much at the shoulders, and we want to keep the back of the head on the mat. So if you have that cushion nearby, you could also place your head on top of the cushion for a little extra support. Once you've found your version of the shape, then you get to explore how you can use as little effort as possible to hang out here for a while. Slow, gentle breaths into the body. Softening through the toes, the belly, the face. Try to ground down here through the low back, so a gentle pressure towards your tailbone or the back of the hips. And for your last few breaths here, try softening into this shape just a little bit more. Release your grip if you have it. Let's uncross the ankle, and now we're moving into a spinal twist. So both feet on the mat, bring your arms out wide to a T shape. Shift your hips over to the right. Grab your cushion or block if you have it. I'm going to place mine between my legs and then lower the knees down to the left. So keeping the shoulder blades on the mat just like we did in that last banana pose. But now we're bringing this ringing out into the spine and the low back. If you want to get more into the low back, you can slide your knees a little further toward the bottom edge of your mat. And the cushion just helps add a little bit more support. You can always take your own variation of a spinal twist if you're not feeling much here, like extending your bottom leg along the mat and then supporting the top knee with your cushion. So as time passes here, we are focusing on letting go into the shape rather than forcing into the twist. Each exhale lets you drop further into it. Each inhale, we're filling up the whole body as we unravel and twist the low back. Twists are one of my favorite poses. I always feel a little bit more balanced, a little better after them, so I hope you'll find that as well. You can keep checking in with where you might be able to relax a little bit more. For you today, that could be physically, or maybe it's mentally, emotionally, if the mind is really busy. Just keep coming back to the breath. All right, bringing it back through center now. Let's take that sweet Shavasana reset. Again, extend your legs out. If that's too much on your low back, you can always keep the knees bent again, feet on the mat. Centering in to feel that ripple effect, that echo from the last two shapes on the right side. And we'll move it into the other side. So feet on the mat, coming back to figure four. Or thread the needle first, lift your left leg up. Ankle crosses over the thigh. Remember, we're asymmetrical. So you might land into this side differently than the first side. I know my left side is way tighter than my right side. So fingertips into the thigh could be an option. Or again, you could interlace behind the back of the right leg. Exploring what works for you for that first few moments in the shape, and then drop into the stillness with no expectation, no judgment, and just breathe. Notice the anchoring down of the back body. Sink your hips into your mat. Drop your shoulder blades down. Feel the space across your chest. Make sure you're not lifting the back of the head. We don't want to strain the neck here. So even you can notice across the neck muscles, if there's any tension there, try to release it. And let's release the shape now. Uncross your ankle, feet on the mat, moving right into your twist, arms out wide. Shift your hips to the left, find your prop. If you have it, bring it to the other side or between the legs, and drop your knees over to the right side. Once your shoulder blades are connected to your mat, you can choose to keep looking right or get a little more of a stretch by turning your eyes over to the left. That'll stretch into the upper spine and even into the neck a little bit more. And take a little mindful exploration throughout this shape. Where can you release into the twist a little bit further as time passes? Being curious with what shows up physically for you today, with an open mind, no judgments. Not here to fix anything, but it's more of a support. And feel the space you're creating across the front of the body, the chest, the collarbones, the rib cage, the belly. The parts of the body here that do meet the floor just continue to get a little bit heavier as we breathe into the shape. Let's make our way out of it now. Press into your palms, lift your knees back up. One more time to a Shavasana to feel that side out. Notice how you're feeling here in the hips, in the low back. Just observing those areas, and we'll come into one more shape before we finish up. So bend your knees again, feet on the mat. Moving into happy baby, so you can bend the knees, lift your feet up. So you can either reach through the inner legs to catch your outer feet, or if that grip isn't working for you, you can reach around the back of the thighs and just allow the weight of your arms to sink your thighs down toward the side body. So we're drawing the legs down toward the outer ribs or the sides of the body as we take a little rounding into the spine. Not a long hold, but just a way to center. If it feels more natural for you to take a little rock and roll side to side in this shape, feel free to bring that bit of movement in. You want to get a stretch into the hamstrings, the back of the legs as well. As you rock, you could kick one leg out to the side and then the other. Maybe moving through that a couple of times. Land back in center here for a few more breaths. And gently, once again, releasing that shape, bring your feet back onto the mat, and we'll move into your final shape, Shavasana. So again, you could take the option of where we started with your soles of the feet on the mat, knees bent, maybe knees together, if you want to support your low back a bit more. Otherwise, take any last little movement or shift that you need and extend your legs out for final Shavasana. Wrap your shoulder blades underneath you, back of the hands get heavy on the floor outside your mat. You could place that cushion under the back of your head, or if you have two cushions, try placing them under the back of your knees. That can be nice for your low back as well. A yoga bolster can work nicely for that too if you happen to have it. And as you arrive into stillness, one final time here, just start to notice how you feel physically, mentally. Observe the breath. Know that you are welcome to stay in this shape. And I really recommend it. If you have the time to hang out here longer, please do that. Otherwise, if you're coming up to finish off the practice in a seated position with me, you can start to wiggle your fingers, your toes, little roll through the ankles, the wrists. Take any stretch that your body craves, maybe reaching overhead and pressing your toes and fingers away from you. And roll through one side of the body. We'll come up to a seated position, cross-legged or back on your heels. I want to thank you for showing up and having the courage to find peace within. I'll see you next week. Namaste.